Happy Monday. I feel like it's been a minute since I've done like a live. Um, I've have been out. I've had an amazing vacation. I was in Costa Rica, if you're following along, for gosh, I was there for like 2.5 weeks, which was just make sure this is all. You guys can looks like it. I got a thumbs up, so I'm gonna assume that you guys can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. Um, check out how you can get ChatGPT. Okay, cool. So, all right. So today's topic, and candidly, what I'm going to be talking a lot about over the next, call it 6 to 8 weeks, is different applications of AI. And so I'm sure for a lot of you, this is top of mind. Some of you may be thinking like, do I care? Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you. Um, some of you may be thinking like, nah, like I'm not sure. And so hopefully I'm going to either scare you from a good standpoint, like, man, I need to get on this shit. Like I got to pay attention, or, I'm not going to be there. So I can tell you that a lot of like the way that we did sales before is going to change. And we're boiling down to this world where it's either like, what's possible and then you're choosing to pay attention or not, or you just don't even know what's possible. And so you're like, I don't even know. So hopefully over the course of these sessions that we're doing and different interviews that I'm going to be doing, you will walk away with, I guess, whether you want to execute it or not, I'll leave that to you, but I would highly suggest that you start getting involved. So today, what I feel like has happened with AI, and anyone else, you can raise your hand. I feel like all anyone wants to talk about is how to use it to like write better sales emails, which it's like okay at best. I would say it's like, it's better than send all, but it's still like not great. Even though everyone, I'm sure there's going to be someone who raises their hand and like, no, but our AI email writing tool is like the best. And like, don't get me wrong, like some of these tools, like we've been messing with Reggie .ai, we've been messing with Humantic, we've been messing with Lavender. Again, I know there's like 500 of these tools out there, but I'm telling you right now, the main area that people are sleeping on is how to use AI in the sales process. Okay. Not just how do I write a better email. And again, like I'm going to give it like, it's not even that great of an email usually, even though you can use their disc profile. Just, there's this tool called Crystal Knows. That tool has, I swear to you, has been out since like 2016. So this idea of using disc profiles or whatever to write emails is not like a novel concept. So feel free, if you guys want, feel free in the chat, let me know where you're joining from. If you have questions, I love doing Q&A. And so we will have time, toward the end to take any questions about AI or applications around it. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to dive in. So, okay. So I'm going to cover again, like, and again, like I use ChatGPT. If you use Bard or some of these other tools, fantastic. Again, we can, I don't, again, for me, it's an easy interface. We're actually enabling Bard. So maybe I'll have some updates for you all on Bard. I don't know, is anybody using Bard right now? I'd love to hear it. I've heard some good things about it as well, too. So, but a lot of what I'm going to talk about is like ChatGPT responses and things like that. So, all right. So I'm going to give you some ideas, okay, some things to think about here as a part of this. Now, this prompt, I'm going to go ahead and drop this prompt in the Landon from Iowa. What's up, dude? I was born in Iowa. I don't know if that many people know that. I was born in a small town called Primgar, Iowa. I actually lived in Iowa before I moved to Kansas City, too. So I moved to Kansas City when I just turned 7. So shout out to Iowa. Yes, Iowa, Missouri, these states have business and have industry, despite what anybody in California or New York thinks. So anyway, so I'm gonna give you guys some ideas on some prompts here. And by the way, this prompt that I'm putting in the chat right now. Look, I give this prompt like a C. Okay, like it's not like the best prompt ever, but I just want to like give you all some insight. Uh, Gianluca from Italy, what's going on? I don't know who your soccer team is, but I know Inter Milan. lost in the Champions League, which is heartbreaking if that's your team. Um, but what I want you to think about what it's really good at, and I'll tell you um, what I think again, like in the sales process, if you're like, hmm, so again, like here's a good example, and this is one I've written before. I don't know if you've seen this one. It's like generate like what's a good opening line or question for somebody who does this. Like our platform offers advanced AI analytics and automation, blah blah blah. Highlight the competitive advantage, etc. Oh, there you go. Oh, you're an AC fan. Um, so anyway, think about this, okay? Think about if you're like, okay, I've got a big meeting coming up, or maybe you're meeting with somebody who's like a few levels above where you're at, or something like that. Think about how you could use AI to help you prepare for the meeting and how to prepare to how to have the conversation, right? What I find is candidly most of what ChatGPT writes in my opinion, is a little too polite's the wrong word, but I'm going to say not confident. I feel like ChatGPT, a lot of the sales messaging, it's super permission-y. I'd love to do this or set up or and sometimes you have to tell it to be more direct. Just I when I was first messing with it, I asked ChatGPT to be more mean. I was like, can you make this more like assertive or aggressive? And then I changed it, said I can't, and ChatGPT will not let you make things meaner. Um, but what it will do is it'll allow you to think about value props. So just think of this use case in particular. You want to make a good first impression. You want to, ask a really smart question that would be applicable to somebody's role. Use it for the introduction and use it for prep. So again, if you are a seller and you're like, Jake, I thought ChatGPT was to write better emails. Absolutely not. You can sit there and role play with it. So you can go on. So again, let's talk about prep and introductions here. You can literally say, hey, here's what my software does, blah, blah, blah. What might some objections be in a down economy? And I've messed with it. I've done this a ton. Um, what might some issues be that a VP of XYZ might bring up given the current economic situation in this industry? So think about that. And again, keep in mind, depending on what version of ChatGPT you have, they do have a browsing version. I think it's either an alpha or beta. The data is only accurate to basically 2022, the end of 2021. So, it's not like amazing, I would say, at some of the trends. But what you can do is you can teach it what the trend is. So what I do is I'll say like, hey, how would I do Amir, I use ChatGPT for every aspect. I use ChatGPT as well too. So uh, yeah, I know Kaylee called out. I'd love that you use please in your prompts. It is funny that you tend to like not want to like you still want to use like subtleties with it. Kaylee, I find myself or Callie, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I find myself doing that often. I haven't said. I mean, I'm sure I've typed thank you at one point too. Maybe it'll make you give better responses. I don't know. Let's think about this. So Amir wrote my prenup. It wrote. I was trying to think like, what did I have it do the other day? Oh, I'm buying actually property in Iowa. Shout out to my boy Landon there. I'm actually buying part of like my family farm from hundreds of years ago, and I used it to write me like a letter of intent to buy something. So it's definitely it can do all of these things. So sales process, think prep, think role play. Hey, I'm meeting with the VP of finance. This is what their industry is. This is the you can feed it a link, right? So again, like a lot of people don't do that. They don't just literally copy and paste like here's what the company does to go take a look at it. So think introduction and prep is where this starts. And again, especially, gosh, if I was a newer rep in my career, and by the way, it's just as applicable now, even though I'm 42. Um, I'm just like, I could get up to speed so much faster by using this. So just think about that in particular. Um, all right, here we go. So, okay, now let's talk about credibility. Okay, so we've talked about introduction and prep, which again, to me, are really, really big ones here. Here's another one. So let's talk about like building credibility here. So prompt, provide information about this company, achievements, and enhance the credibility for our platform, include notable clients, industry recognition, or partnerships. Um, So again, just imagine I can say, "Hey," and again, keep in mind how do I describe what it can and can't do? Again, I'm not like I'm not a development expert by any means, but um, if you feed it a link, it can look at what you tell it to look at. It can't. What it can't do is search the web. So a lot of people, but like I said, it is coming up. There is a version of it. I've seen it. One of the guys on our team actually has it. I think it's in, like I said, it's in beta where it will search the internet now, but most of us, 99% of people don't have it. Um, but again, think about establishing credibility. You don't have the time. There's this one, just so you guys know, Chat PDF. Okay, get ready for this one. Chat PDF. You can literally you can download like a company's annual report or like their quarterly filing or quarterly earnings, uh, and then query their like the report. Like, hey, what does it appear this company's top, four priorities are? So just think about these different things for credibility that you could do to like really understand and not have to just gosh, because when I was a rep in the beginning, it's like my God, I literally used to have to like spend hours trying to find something like cool or unique or something like that. So think about establishing credibility again. Like to me, it's one of the best ways that you can quickly get up to speed on a company or quickly get up to speed on an individual too. Where I could copy and paste in some like LinkedIn articles they wrote. Hey, do you feel like this person would prefer to communicate this way? So think about just ways to establish credibility. Okay, this one I absolutely love. Um, and I'll put this is if you know these, put the chat, skip to the next prompt. So I'm just going to talk about like how to. I'm going to talk about these two maybe together, which is like solution problem. So I'm going to give you all just a couple of these. Give me one second here. I'm going to copy and paste these in. I think that these two are important to talk about. Prompt. Here we go. Okay, there's two in here. Kevin, I've been using a couple weeks now. Game changer. Hey, Kevin, if you have one that if you like in here, um, please feel free to drop it in the chat, Kevin. If there's one that you've used that you feel like if you've been playing around with it, um, yeah, I'd be curious to check it out too. I'm always checking these things out. So, okay, let's say problem solution matching. So I talked about preparation and kicking things off correctly. Talked about building credibility and how it can role play and help you to build credibility. The next thing I want to talk about is helping you to do a better job of explaining what you do in the customer's own words. I cannot tell you how many demos I sit on where people literally just it's the same demo. I could copy and paste it, from one call to the next. So what I want you all to think about is what it also is very good at is okay, what are the common challenges and in the more sub industry that you can go? And again, keep in mind it's going to pull, but it's not like the challenges of a job really change like over a year and a half. So I don't know. I found its persona based problem, and again I'll just tell it like imagine the economy is in like an okay place or something, or like a CFO is actually very difficult, and how would that change your response. So again I'll try to again thinking about this is a combination of kind of the solution mapping, but just think about I can kind of train it to be the most difficult type of client possible, right? Um, I love this one too, is provide evidence. That's a great one. Address objections. Like here, I'll drop this one in there. So just think about objections. Like this is one of my favorite like use cases for the sales process. I'm prepping for a meeting. Okay. I'm prepping for a meeting and I'm like, okay, and then a lot of us think we know. We're like, oh, well, I already know what their issues are. But I'm just telling you, like, just having a little bit of a conversation ahead of time with with ChatGPT or whatever you use, um, to think about these objections, right? Anticipate a potential objection or concerns that a VP of, and then again, be very specific, might have about adopting a new financial services platform. Provide persuasive responses that address these objections and instill confidence. I'm telling you, like I feel like salesperson ramp time is just has shrunk to like weeks, where if you know how to leverage these tools, and again, these are all throughout the sales process. You can ask it at the end. You can say, "Hey, I had my meeting." Okay, so like this is another like fun one. that I would think about is like, hey, I just had the meeting. This came up. How can I potentially address this in a, what do you call it? I don't know, what am I trying to work? Oh, like in a follow-up email or a follow-up video or something that you want to do. Um, so yeah, those are some of my big prompts. Output with 3 different tones. Oh, I love that. Yeah, you could do that. You could say like 3 different tones, give me one that's very direct, one that's super casual, like you might talk to your friend or something like that. So those are some of my big ones. The last one I'll leave you all with is just kind of conclusions and like calls to action. So let me just drop these in here real quick. And then I've got some questions here that I'm going to tackle. They're actually almost all around AI, which works. Um, I love this for like the email write up, like at the end of it, and again, like here's the thing to know. And again, a lot of people, it's interesting. Maybe a lot of you joining now, you're in AI, so you know this, but I'm actually shocked. What you have to realize is if you just have, your chat GPT bot, let's say, it can't learn across threads. So let me repeat that. What that means is like, let's say you spent some time training it on what you do, who your buyers are, etc. And then you go to another thread, it's not going to remember everything. Okay. And so then what you've got to be really smart about is creating a bunch of different threads on different topics. Now, I will tell you there's some things you can do on the back end to fix this, where you can train it on some of this logic. But I mean, for 90% of you, you're probably not going to do that. So just think like, maybe you want to create different chat threads. One is about, you know, this buyer persona and prepping for that industry and like those types of things. Maybe another thread is around like messaging in the middle of the funnel. Maybe another one is around like writing a really good recap email, something that you can send after a meeting, etc. So I love this like call to action. It's like, how, like, what's a good way for me to end the meeting that will give me a higher likelihood of getting a third meeting or second meeting. And then again, what I do again, ChatGPT is too soft for me. It's like not direct enough. So then I always have to tell it, like, hey, when you give me recommendations, um, please provide more direct. I will tell you all one of the funniest things that you can do with ChatGPT. This is more for your own fun. It can't not keep saying however. And so I'll train it. I'll be like, one word answer only. And then like over time, it forgets it, and then it will go back, and I'm like, stop saying however. And ChatGPT cannot help itself from saying however. So it's more funny. That just shows you the type of rabbit holes that I go down from time to time. So, all right, so we've got some questions from you all. This is over the course of the last few weeks. I've been gathering these. And like I said, if you have questions around how our clients are doing using AI at different parts of the funnel, these are just some ones. I hope that these, resonate with you all in terms of, things that you can literally practically do. And I think a lot of us, we just have to retrain our brain. We're so used to like just doing everything and having to write everything that I don't know about you, but like my first default is like I'll open up a Google Doc or something. I'm like, no, 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 stop. Like, don't open up the Google Doc. You don't need to do that. Instead, go start with ChatGPT. So it feels like a lot more people are warming up to this, how to do this, etc. Click where the email subject lines for, yeah, exactly. And then what I try to do too is I say, this example that she just gave with the subject lines, what I find is like, again, it's like you have to really train it. You have to really just say like, okay, and and I'll tell you that taking the time to write a really good prompt is everything, right? So it's, you might say something like, uh, you know, I sell to this thing, I do this, this buyer persona prefers a more direct approach. Write me 3 of them. Um, yeah, I'll do that. You know what? I'll do that, Kevin. I candidly have just been like so, I don't know, down the chat GPT. But you know what? That'll be my commitment. I'll start to talk about those. And Kevin, I don't know if you dropped the link for the the plugin yet, but definitely do that if you want to. But I'll do that. I'll start messing around with Bard a little bit, and maybe come back to you next week. Next week I'll be talking about sales leadership and a couple other topics as well. Um, Bard's a little bit more intuitive. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not like hardcore. I prefer like direct. conversations, right? It's why I like living in New York and San Francisco less. Sorry if you live in San Francisco. Um, so let me dive into a couple of these questions. First question: how are you using AI in your day to day as CEO, and how do you see Frontlines incorporating AI or ChatGPT or something like that in their day to day? So for me as a CEO, I mean, it depends on the day, but I loved all these different use cases that everyone was coming up with around prenups and letters of intent, etc. Um, if I have to create anything from scratch, the first place I go is to ChatGPT, and now I'll go check out Bard a little bit more too. Um, and so that's where I first head, because instead of me being like, okay, before what I probably would have done is, let's say I have a problem I haven't faced before, or I want to see what other people are doing. Go to Google, I'd go to YouTube, I'd do some research. Now, what I like about it is it will start me on the process. So I would say anything new that I have to tackle, I immediately go to AI today. So that's probably the next one. Number two, anytime I want to kind of like stress test something, um, of like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking about. I've got to do ABC. What are the potential things that could go wrong? Right. So any type of like stress testing an idea or a concept, I love to use it for that. And then the last thing I'll mention that I use it for daily is, um, lists and, again, things to, like, kind of get me started. I'll give you a good example. I was in Costa Rica for 2.5 weeks, and, um, I said, "What are some of the top 4 attractions that I can ATV to that are less than 45 minutes away?" And it gave me this, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I've already done this and this. I want something that's a little bit more like this." And then it gave me another list, and then I could go search those on Google, etc. So I love it for like really quick list building and aggregation of lists. So those are probably my big ones. Something from starting something new from scratch I've never done before, or like number two, which is like stress test something maybe I have done before, and then building like lists. Like, hey, what are we want to do our company offsite. Okay, what are locations that look like this and this that are less than a plane flight from of this and this? It's crushes lists just all day. Um, so that's what I do. That's how I use it as a CEO. I hope that helps some of you out there. Maybe gets the blood flowing a little bit more. Also, before I forget, make sure to sign up. I am doing a virtual summit on the 21st. So let me drop this in here while we still got quite a few folks. Please sign up for this. It's free. Um, I'm going to be talking about the human and AI combined, and where I'm seeing areas of opportunity, and where if I was a human, I would be a little nervous. So make sure to go check out that session. I just dropped it in there for all of you. So go check it out. Um, and it will be helpful. I promise you that. Okay, next question. If I am a sales manager, what's the best way I should use Chat GPT? I've dabbled here and there, but I can't say it's made me faster at my job at this point. Okay, great question. I'm just going to give you a few use cases that I think are amazing. Okay, some of the best use cases. If I was a sales manager, difficult conversations. It's actually really good at scripting, and you tell it the exact scenario. You know, this situation happened, this happened, da 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 da. Write me a script for this conversation. So, like, before that, maybe again, if this is a conversation I was preparing for, hey, I've got a goals meeting coming up with Johnny. His top two goals are this. What are two or three ideas that I could bring to the table? Boom. So I love it for like difficult conversations, or even like your meeting prep, like with your own team. Tell it. You could even create, just imagine this. You could literally create different chats for each individual rep, and you could train it on like, what are all the things this person does really well, what are they struggling, and you could create these different like chat experiences for each rep, which I think would just be bonkers. So I would say again, it's going to make your quality of your conversations better, because it's going to help you to think about things that you wouldn't just intuitively do. So to me, if I was a sales manager, and there are some, I saw somebody at the very beginning dropped in, getting AI into Salesforce. There's some tools coming out. Einstein, I know, Salesforce's product is working to do some data pieces. But I think the quality of the conversation that you can have, it may or may not help you in like, a quick thing. But let's say deal advice. Deal advice would be another great one. So imagine your rep you're talking to your rep, and she or he has this like deal, they're working on it, you give them, you coach with them, they land on it, and then you could go back and kind of stress test it, like, hey, here's this account we're trying to break into, here's what's happening, here's the advice, what are two ways this could go wrong? So again, scenario planning. Just think of that, scenario planning. What could go wrong? Hey, this is my account plan. This is my account strategy. What are three ways like what are the most likely three ways that this could derail? Here's ways that my deals have derailed in the past. Boom. Love that. So if you're a sales manager, you're not using it for this like higher quality conversation or for account planning, you're missing out, my friend. So last but not least, I've got another one. Do I follow a certain person or company for AI advice? How do I even get started? Well, you're here, so welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Um, there is a gentleman. Let me tell you what his name is. Of course, Slack could not load, so I can't tell you. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull up. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I have watched a few of his videos. Um, Dang it. You know what? DM me, or you know what? I'll come back to this and I'll find his name. Actually, you know what? Here, let me do this. I know who knows. Brian on our team. Just so if you guys don't follow Brian on my team, please follow Brian. Brian's probably the guy that like gives me the most. Um, what is the YouTube guy you sent me? Who is the uh, weekly AI recap guy? But follow Brian. I just dropped his link in there. Brian, this guy, you want to talk about goes down rabbit holes. This guy goes down a lot. So follow his content. He's always putting out stuff about AI. So I would follow Brian. And then I'll have Brian drop in the other gentleman that I've been watching YouTube videos. I don't know why I can't remember it. So that's what's up, everybody. Maybe Marie Flo. Okay, all right, I'll check that one out. Let me just copy and paste so I don't forget that. Thank you, Kevin. I will check this person out. Matt Wolf. That's it. Yep, that's the guy. So perfect. I don't know how you read my mind. Maybe you ChatGPT'd it. Yeah, that's the guy, Kevin. It's this Matt Wolf guy. So go check this guy out. That's the one I've been watching. Um, so my friends, this is the future. So my best advice to all of you is you cannot afford for your career. Look, if you're in roofing, you're in plumbing, you're in construction, you're golden. Those jobs are going to be prevalent, right? But if you are in a knowledge worker role, whether it's in sales or marketing or something else, and you do not become proficient in these tools, you are going to be in trouble. Yeah, Kevin, absolutely. Yeah, you can create that can do that. Again, just most people don't. Most people get daunted. And the funny part is, it's like ChatGPT and Bard are so good, without having to even teach them anything more. So it's kind of funny. It's like, and then whenever you really, really start to educate them, like they can do all that stuff. So that's what's up, everyone. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, DM me. And if I don't answer them in LinkedIn, I will answer them maybe on one of these LinkedIn lives coming up. Like I said, check out that link for the Vidyard Summit. I'll drop it one more time and make sure to join me there. And if I do not talk to you, there it is. Make sure to join, sign up. It's free. If I don't talk to you, I will see you next Monday, right? Yeah, yeah. I turn 43 on Sunday. So on Father's Day, I also have my birthday. We've got a boat planned, got like a whole thing. We're going to a winery with like a big pig roast. So we're going to do it up. Yes, Brian jumped in. I knew it. Anything on AI, I knew Brian would jump all over. So it's going to be a fun weekend. I'm excited. And if I don't talk to any of you until next week, I will see you next Monday. Have a great one.